When Rogers was president. 40 million Americans can't be wrong, unless it's while Folly's Cowboy broadcasts as Calvin Coolidge. Radio Digest, March 1928. Imagine this. You are in a room with a lot of radio apparatus. Telegraph instruments are clicking. Graham McNamee sits in a chair a few feet from your knees, his eyes glued to a watch. A microphone hangs in front of your nose. Now the telegraph instrument is going a monotonous ding-a-ding-ding, ding-a-ding-ding, and then of a sudden it hesitates and gives one final bing. You've been warned. You are on the air. A string of the most powerful broadcasting stations strung across the continent is catching your breath. You are facing not less than 40 million people, probably more, for the range goes far beyond the boundaries. There you are with 80 or 100 million ears perked toward you, and you start introducing yourself as President Coolidge. It's not a dream, it's a fact. What would you do? And what would you do, Will Rogers? You had better scratch your head and hoist a quizzical eyebrow. But, of course, everybody knows you did do it, William, so there is no use pretending. Maurice Wetzel of the National Broadcasting Company anticipated that a $1,000 a minute program was worth keeping, so he hooked up a dictaphone and took down all that was said. His record, in part, of that momentous colloquy follows. Will Rogers, at NBC Microphone, Los Angeles.
Hello, folks. I'm the town crier tonight. They could have got a printed program, but they got me cheaper. It's the easiest job I ever had, sitting here at home by your own fireside. Oh, I shouldn't have mentioned fire. We're not supposed to let outsiders know that we have fires in California. I am glad to appear at this benefit for such a worthy cause. I want to thank the Dodge brothers and their wonderful new car for arranging this financial testimonial for Al Jolson, Paul Whiteman, and Fred Stone. This will help the boys meet their first income tax installment in good shape. I've just been down to Mexico on some outside business for Calvin. He heard that they were shooting presidential candidates, and he sent me down to get the recipe. So if you hear of any of our presidential candidates up here being shot, you will know that my mission to Mexico has been a partial success. The only thing, we ain't got enough ammunition up here. Mexico's a great country, though, and this fellow Moro is doing a fine work. Mexico is hooked in on this eavesdropping thing here tonight, so I want to say a few words to him in their native tongue. 14 seconds of Spanish phrases. It's spoiling my English. I wish I had never learned this language at all. I wish I could describe to you the scene here tonight in my home in Beverly Hills. This is Beverly Hills, the home of all the movie stars. It's wonderful here tonight. Mary and Doug are right here. Pauline Frederick and Gloria and Irene Rich and Harold Lloyd and Rin Tin Tin, John Barrymore, Bull Montana and Dolores Del Rio and Ben Turpin. All of them are right here. Say, oh, it's great. All within 15 or 20 blocks of where I am right now. I'd call some of them to the microphone if I knew their telephone numbers. But sure enough, right here in my house, I wish you could see it. All the kids are sore as boils because their mother wouldn't let them go to the show tonight. Out of respect for their father, she wanted them to stay at home and listen to Father. Jimmy said, "I've heard the jokes so much I could do 'em myself, for a third of the money." By the way, he just come running in from the room where they've got a receiving set, and he whispered over here to his mother, he says, "Mama, we can't get anything in there but static." His mama said, "Hush, that ain't static, that's your father." Now folks, we've got a real surprise for you tonight. Something that we didn't put on the program because of the nature of it. We couldn't advertise it. And because he thinks that automobiles has contributed to the success and prosperity of the country, we have a real treat in store for you, so get ready for a real surprise. A real announcer should announce this, but I have to do it. And it's nobody but Mr. Coolidge, Mr. Calvin Coolidge from Washington, who wants to take the opportunity to deliver a short message to America. Alright, Washington, are you ready? Alright, Mr. Coolidge. Mr. Coolidge. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the duty of the President to deliver a message to the people on the condition of the country. I am proud to report that the condition of the country as a whole is prosperous. I don't mean that the whole country is prosperous, but as a whole, it's prosperous. That is, it's prosperous for a whole. A whole is not supposed to be prosperous, and this country is certainly a whole. There is not a whole lot of doubt about that. Everybody that I come in contact with seems to be doing well. Hoover, Dawes, Loudon, Curtis, Al Smith, McAdoo, they're all doing well. Of course, not as they'd like to be doing by this time next year. I sent Dwight Morrow down to Mexico. A smart boy, Dwight. He's one of the smartest boys in our class at Amherst. One of the two smartest boys, in fact, in our class at Amherst, where we were preparing for college. Lindbergh is busy in Central America. We seem to get in wrong faster than that boy can get us out. I wish he was twins. I made a statement last fall in which I said I didn't choose to run. It seems to have been misunderstood, or not understood, or something. So about a month ago, I clarified it by saying, I still don't choose to run. If they misunderstood the first choose, I certainly can't see how they could misunderstand this one again. Farm relief. For farm relief, I give 'em rain and a good crop. That beats all the McCoggin bills for relief you can invent. Fill a farmer up. That'll stop him from hollering quicker than anything. Foreign debts. I am sorry to state that they are just as foreign as ever. In fact, more so. Cuba and South American relations. I am going down there at once to try and show them that we are not as bad as we might have been. Nicaragua. We're still having a little trouble down there, but I think we'll get it all buried. Prohibition. Prohibition is going down about as well as usual. Now, radio audiences, I thank you. Well, that's certainly nice, Mr. Coolidge. We certainly, and I want to thank you in behalf of Dodge Brothers, and I know they will appreciate your stating the condition of the country due to the Dodge Brothers car. And now, Henry Ford and Dodge Brothers moved Americans away from home, but it took Paul Whiteman to provide something for him to do when they got away. In the old days, it was the fashion when a man got old, all there was for him to do was to get the gout and make their life miserable for everybody around him, and then die. Now the old sucker unwraps his foot to the introduction of the Rhapsody in Blues, and his relatives have to shoot him to get him to quit dancing. Paul Whiteman is the first man to find out what to do with a band orchestration of a piece of music. He tore it up. He whistled the tune he wanted his men to play and told each one to show me at the same time how you'd play this tune. And what they all did turned out to be music. There's no man in his profession in America that stands as far ahead of his competitors as Whiteman. Paul took grand opera and raised it up, and he took jazz and brought it down till the two met. And he originated something that if it wasn't so darned popular, that'd be called art. Paul, I haven't danced in 20 years. But when you start up your music tonight, I'm going to grab the balance wheel, Mrs. Rogers, and go into a huddle. Mr. Paul Whiteman of New York. For our first number, we will play excerpts from the Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin, written especially for this orchestra 4 or 5 years ago. Dodge Brothers didn't know it, but I'd have worked for nothing tonight just to get to tell about the good qualities of the other performers, who are great friends of mine. They are the 3 outstanding men in their lines in the world. Fred Stone, the most versatile performer. To have considered him and his family my closest personal friends has been a treat. In addition to his marvelous daughter, Dorothy, who you have all seen, or heard about anyway, he has 2 more girls in preparation for a stage career. If he'd have raised boys, they'd have turned out to be football coaches or gone to Harvard and become bond salesmen. Now he gets older and shows need of something new. All he has to do is to sit on the stage and reach under his whiskers and pull out another clever daughter. If he had raised boys, he'd have had to gone to the jail to get 'em out. His career teaches a great moral. Raise girls and teach 'em to do something, instead of raising boys and trying to teach 'em to do something. So I leave you in the hands of the most beloved actor on the American stage, the finest character of a man our, or any profession, has to offer. Good luck, Fred. Hello, Dorothy. Chatter and greetings from members of the Rogers family. Mary sends her love. She is here practicing her dance now, or listening to you. Better be good. Hello. Mr. Fred Stone and daughter Dorothy from Chicago. Hello, everybody. Haha, Dorothy and I just came off the stage. The first act of Criss Cross is over. We are in my dressing room, way out here at the Erlanger Theater by the big lake. The radios are all set up for us to dance 15 minutes, but we're not going to dance. We're going to sing. And I hope you all will have just as good a time as we are. First, I want Dorothy to sing a little number of her own. She wrote it herself. That is, she wrote the words, and Miss Margaret Hart composed the music. She is Miss Mary Cook at the piano, and the Criss Cross Quartet to help out. Here, Dorothy dear.
Good evening, everybody.
Well, I'm sure glad you liked that song. I can tell by the applause that you did. I think that's pretty good for a girl just 20 years old in her stocking feet. Now I'll send one over the ether for you from my old show, Chin Chin. It's a Chinese song. The reason I pick a Chinese song is if I make any mistakes, you won't know the difference. If you like this song, send me your laundry, and I'll promise to get it back by Saturday. Well, here's Dorothy all ready for the second act, and we just have time to put over one more little ditty before we go back to the footlights. I'm sorry Mrs. Stone isn't here, but she's home taking care of the other two little pebbles, and they are working hard with their vocal and dancing lessons. The stage is their ambition, and I'll leave no stone unturned to make their dreams come true. Maybe you wonder why I let my girls go on the stage. It's because I love and respect my profession, and the stage needs just such girls as mine. I love my profession, and if everybody held their profession in as great a reverence as I do, there would be no wonder why I am so anxious to have my daughters with me and by my side. Everybody has a mission to perform in this world, and I believe our mission is to help make the public forget their cares and worries. The stage is progressing side by side with the improvements of every other line of endeavor. Now I believe in dancing in the right spirit. We are on the right road, not too early or too late, born to amuse the world. Good, clean, wholesome amusement is and always will be considered a necessity. There's an old adage, a rolling stone gathers no moss. But if you find a stone that's rolled any further than this one, I lose. I have rolled through every city, town, village, burg, and water tank in this country, and I'm still rolling. $1,000 a minute. Well, I'm going to waste $500 of it right now talking to Will Rogers, because I know he's listening in. Hello, Bill. Say, Bill, what were you doing in Mexico? I'll bet you were the advance agent for Colonel Lindbergh, you old rascal. You're some diplomat yourself. Well, if you ever run for president again, Bill, there's 3 of the Stone family old enough to vote for you. Well, folks, here's that last song I was talking about. It's called Wonderful Dad from Stepping Stones. Well, so long, everybody. Dorothy and I are mighty glad to have been with you for these few minutes, and I hope you are enjoying the Victory program. God bless you all. You will now hear from Mr. Will Rogers in California. Hello, Fred. Thank you. Gee, that was fine. It certainly seemed good to hear you all again. My goodness, you know, I was telling you a while ago about who wasn't here. Well, we got quite a treat. Say, right here by me at the table sits Graham McNamee, the greatest radio announcer and the most popular one you know. He's out here to announce the New Year's football game. You know, he announced it the other day. It was New Year's, wasn't it? The California climate must have got to him, for all he spoke about was the bracing air and the beautiful mountains that he had flown over that morning, and the flower parade in Pasadena. Every time somebody made a touchdown, he announced the color of the lilacs or the Johnny jump-ups that were used in the Beverly Hills float, but we never did find out who made the touchdown. I found out how many hollyhocks was used in Glendale's float, but I don't yet know who won the game. Here's something that Graham didn't tell you. The flowers on the Beverly Hills float that won the prize was shipped from North Carolina. Being mayor, I know. And the reason we won over the other floats from the other California towns was because North Carolina knew how to pack their flowers and keep them in bloom for shipping better than Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma did.